Well, how if Channel 4 were to receive public money, it's clear from the. I mean, this is not new, but it is pretty clear in the reasoning in the document leaked to the Guardian that as Ofcom think through the likely consequences of that in terms of accountability. It says in here that their favoured option would either be a Channel 4 trust or more likely a public service authority, which would separately licence, commission and hold accountable Channel 4 for any public service content that it sought funding for. Now, do you think it's possible, imaginable, that Channel 4 could continue to be the kind of force for cultural upset that it has so gloriously been if it's subjected to that kind of accountability mechanism?
Very clear answer, yes.
I mean, as Michael Lyons put it, what's the point of having Channel 4 if it's really BBC 5?
It won't be BBC 5. The whole culture and DNA of Channel 4 is very, very different to the BBC. I've worked at both organisations, and they're fundamentally different organisations. But the reason it's a yes, Steve, is... But
it won't stay that way. You have to deal with that sort of accountability.
Well, you asked the question, let me answer the question. The reason it's a yes is, I think, very straightforward. We're not saying there's a gap because it's fun to say there's a gap. You know, believe you me, if the money was rolling in, we wouldn't be wasting our time.
Although nobody else agrees with your estimate of how big it is.
That's
not even Ofcom, who did it again and came out with 40 million.
That's a leaked document based on numbers from last year.
They reran it.
The facts on that, Steve, are we are currently tracking... Let's deal with facts. We are currently tracking at the low-case scenario that LEK produced last year in terms of revenue. And revenue in particular is the problem. Now, if you want to be in denial on that, that's fine. But the facts are...
But that's impacted primarily by cyclical effects, as you've said.
Yeah, no, I said it was primarily impacted by structural and cyclical. But to answer the question you've asked me, the reason... We've got a choice. OK, this is it. This is a choice. We can either say, game's over, revenue's kind of not coming in, Channel 4 can be a shadow of its former self, and we kind of pack up and go home. And to some extent, we do a lot less than we ever used to do. That's an option. We think that's a very poor option. What we're arguing for is to actually allow us to do all the things we've laid out in Next on 4. In order to do that, you need a new mechanism that can replace the old mechanism. Now, the debate is how do you set up a mechanism in a way that doesn't damage what the whole point of Channel 4 is in the first place. Now, we've spent a lot of time thinking about this. We've laid down very clearly the principles. We've said, first of all, any accountability, any governance that Channel 4 has, and first of all, we already have a lot more than people think. But secondly, any accountability or governance that you layer on Channel 4 is designed to support the end purposes of the organisation. We need to remain independent. We need to remain able to take creative risks. We need to be able to back new talent and actually work with new independent companies.
Held accountable by public service authorities.
Well, but why can't you do that? The BBC does wonderful things all the time.
But Channel 4 is not the BBC, and we don't want it to be.
Hold on. The BBC does wonderful things all the time and has lots of governance and bureaucracy, at times far too much governance and bureaucracy. However, it's able to be a very creative, brilliant organisation. Channel 4 is a very different organisation, but to argue that you can't have governance and accountability that's incompatible with it taking creative risks is a nonsense. The problem to be solved is how to do it in a way where, first of all, work out what the best funding mechanism is, and secondly, then say you've got to balance two things. Appropriate governance and accountability as a public organisation to make it clear that we're actually delivering the end purposes that we're meant to be delivering, while allowing us creatively and editorially to make the sorts of programmes our audience want. Now, to answer that point...
I'm going to have to stop you there, because we will come back to this, we will get another opportunity. But